Okay, the first thing I want you to do is look at your star chart. I don't know why I see people with their heads down. Everybody should be paying attention. Okay, I want you to go to volume and make sure that you have a cylinder changed to pi r squared h. Everybody check your paper. And for cone, check that you have 1/3 pi r squared h. Did everybody check and make sure you have it correctly? The only thing you're going to be allowed to use tomorrow on your CBA is your star chart. Everybody understand? Okay, let's go to number 1. You should have read the problem and highlighted or circled the word cylinder. What was the other thing you should have highlighted or circled? Volume. So right there, you know you're going to go to the section titled volume and of a cylinder, and you're going to write this formula down. Pi r squared h. If you did not write the formula down, write it down right now. To use this formula, you need an r and an h. Now you read the problem. A cylinder has a height of 6, so where am I going to put that? For the h. And a diameter of 3. Can I use diameter? No, if they give me diameter, I have to divide by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5 or 1.50, either way. Now I plug these in to this formula. So I should have done pi times 1.5 squared times 6. So pi times 1.5 squared times 6 is 42.41. The answer was B. Any questions on that one? Okay, what is the first word I should have highlighted in number 2? Cone. What's the next word I should have highlighted? Volume. So I go to my star chart. I find volume of a cone, and I write this formula down. I'm telling y'all, if you don't write the formula down, you're going to mess up. 1/3 pi r squared h. If you didn't write it now. What do I need to use this formula? What pieces do I need? I need an r and an h. So now I read to see if they gave me those. It says diameter of 17. And if they give me diameter, I have to divide by 2. So 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. The height was 20. So now I plug these in to this formula. So I'm going to do 1/3 times pi times 8.5 squared times 20. And the answer is 1,513.2. Are y'all good so far? Okay, the next question. What should I have highlighted? What's the first word? Sphere. What's the next word? Volume. Okay, so I'm going to go to my star chart to volume, which is here, of a sphere. Be careful writing this formula down and make sure you write it exactly how you see it. 4/3 pi r cubed, not squared. To use this formula, what's the only thing I need? An r. So read it. A soccer ball shaped like a sphere has a diameter of 23. If they give you diameter, you have to divide by, and 23 divided by 2 is 11.5 or 11.50. Now I plug this in to this formula. So I'm going to do 4/3 times pi times 11.5, and make sure you put to the third power. And the answer is 6,370.63 if I round. All right, we just did all of volume. Any questions on volume of cylinders, cones, and spheres? Are we all good? Okay, turn the page. What's the first word I should have highlighted on number 4? cylinder. What's the next word I should have highlighted? Lateral surface area. Do you see why it's important to make sure you're reading it? So I am not going to go to volume. I am going to go to what? Surface area of a cylinder. Which formula am I going to use out of these two? Lateral. So I write down 2 pi RH. To use this formula, what two pieces do I need? An R and an H. So go to the height. Which one is it? Okay, where does the radius have to come from? So I go to the circle. Does this line go halfway through the circle or all the way? So I have to do what to this? 14 divided by 2 is? Does everybody understand why I divided it by 2? Okay, so I'm going to do 2 times pi times 7 times 10. Nothing is squared because I'm following the formula on the star chart. 2 times pi times 7 times 10 is 439.82. Questions on that? Number 5. What's the first word I should have highlighted? Rectangular prism. What's the next word I should have highlighted? Total surface area. I need everybody sitting up. So I go to my star chart to surface area of a prism. Which formula am I going to use? Total, which is pH plus 2B. You should have written it down. Okay, to use this formula, what 3 things do I need? P, H, and B. What's the first thing I taught you to do? Highlight or shade in your base. So here's my base. It's sitting on it. What's the height? Write it down and then do what? Cross it out so you never use it again. What does P mean? Perimeter of the base. So I have to add up the sides. So is it just these 2 sides? No, it's all 4 sides. So I'm going to add 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 5, which is 24? Yes or no? What does big B mean? Area of the base. What kind of base is this? A rectangle. So I go to my star chart. Area of a rectangle, I'm going to do length times width. So I just multiply. 7 times 5 is? Now that I have all my pieces, I plug them into this formula. You should be writing this down unless you already did. P times H plus 2 times B. So 24 times 3 plus 2 times 35 is 142. Now where would I put this on this griddable? In front of the decimal. So right here. Any questions on total surface area of a rectangular prism? Okay, turn the page. What's the first thing I should have highlighted on number 6? Cylinder. What's the next thing I should have highlighted? What's it asking for? Volume. So I go to my star chart and I find volume of a cylinder. Here it is, volume, cylinder. So I write down pi r squared h. Question, did they solve them or did they just set them up? Okay, so I don't have to solve it. I'm just going to set it up. I need an R and an H. So let's read. A can of soup is in the shape of a cylinder. The can has a height of 4 and a diameter of 3. What am I going to have to do about diameter? Which is 1.5. So I'm just going to set this up. Pi times 1.5 squared times 4. Which one says that? A. And remember, it doesn't have to be in the correct order. It just has to have, this one has to be squared, and they have to be multiplied. Okay, on the next one, what should I have highlighted? Cylinder. What else? Volume. So same formula. I'm going to do pi r squared h. I need an r and an h. Did they give you a radius? No. What did they give? So what do I have to do? So 5.5 divided by 2 is 2.75. And the height is 13. I'm just going to set it up. I'm not going to solve it. So I'm going to do pi times 2.75 squared times 13. Which one says that? What was wrong with A? They put diameter. Do you think people will accidentally pick that one? Yes. Sit up and pay attention. Okay, this one. What should I have highlighted? Sphere. What else? Volume. So I go to my star chart. I go to volume of a sphere. I write it down. 4/3 pi r cubed. If you didn't write it down now. To use this formula, what's the only thing you need? R. Look at the picture. Did they give you a radius halfway through? No. So what do I have to do to the 10? Which is 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So I'm going to do 4/3 times pi times 5 to the 3rd power. And the answer is 523.60 if you round. We're almost done. Pay attention. Number 9. What was the clue word? Sphere again. What else? Volume. So I go to my star chart. To volume of a sphere, which is here. Write down 4/3 pi r cubed. If you didn't write it, you're writing it now. To use this formula, what's the only thing you need? A radius. So read it. A sphere has a diameter of 18. Did they give me radius? No. So what do I have to do? Divide by 2, which is 9. So I'm going to do. Okay, so you should have plugged in 4/3 times pi times 9 to the 3rd power. Which was 3,053. Last question. What should I have highlighted? Cylinder. What else? Total surface area. Make sure you're reading that, because if you do volume, you're going to get the wrong answer. So I go to surface area of cylinder, and I write down the total formula. 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Write it down if you didn't. Two pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Okay, what are the pieces I need of this? Radius and height. All right, so now we got to read. A silo in the shape of a cylinder has a diameter of 42. Did they give you radius? So what do you have to do? 42 divided by 2 is 21, and the height is 20. So I need to write this down. 2 times pi times the radius, which is 21, times the height, which is 20, plus 2 times pi times the radius squared. And now I just type this in my calculator. The answer is 5,409.82. Your CBA is tomorrow. The questions are pretty much identical to this with different numbers. You need to make sure you're good and that you have your star chart and your calculator.